as a fashion statement? Maybe a tire for a bracelet? Yeah, nobody here, right? So, because you guys do not want to wear meat and tires, I think I'm going to talk to you about fashion through the ages and the ridiculousness that comes with it. So to start with, the materials in fashion. So the materials are the things that put the outfits and the clothing together. It's the starting blocks of any type of clothing. So flashback 200 years to the 1800s, early 1800s. They used cotton just like we do. Cotton's been used for thousands of years for clothing, along with chiffon, denim, and lace. And then back then, they also used something that's a little different, not seen much now. They used crepe, velvet, and linen just as clothing. And then now we have flannel, flax, even polyester, spandex, wool, nylon, and recycled materials. So the ridiculous things that we see now are, meat on Lady Gaga. Don't know why she chose that. Probably wasn't comfortable. Wood, that couldn't be comfortable either. You get like splinters. And rubber, who would wear rubber, and organic material like leaves and a whole bunch of weird things. So, speaking about the 1800s, so in the early 1800s, there was two different types of dresses. There was a morning dress and then an evening dress. Morning dresses were very simple. All the dresses then had empire waistlines, which was like higher up. And the morning dresses were just plain and simple, not a lot of color, not many embellishments, but the evening dresses were the opposite. They were very extravagant, and they were big, and they were, well, not big, they're straight down, but they were just worn to make people think that you were rich and fancy. So then in the 1850s, things started to get poofy and big. They were just, there was hoops in the skirts, there was layers, there was a whole bunch of weird things used to puff up dresses. And they were Victorian style, so sort of, Victorian style, everybody knows that. And something really ridiculous about the 1850s is they started using corsets, which would be wrapped around your torso and tightened so tight you'd have an 18-inch waist, which is that big, which would probably kill me. So then those were continued to be used into the 1900s, and the 1900s got even more ridiculous because they got even bigger. The dresses were bigger. Women couldn't even hold things, because to walk and to go up and down stairs and things, they would have to lift up the pounds and pounds of material in their dresses so they could move their feet. They'd have to have a friend help them get their dress on, and it'd take like an hour because there was so much stuff. Then, later in the 1940s, things got a lot more toned down because World War II had a supply shortage. So people had to be really creative and just work with what they had for fashion. So things were just simple. Dresses were shorter. They were just pretty neutral colors, just one color. And the ridiculous thing was that because they didn't have materials for stockings, women would take eyeliner and draw on their legs to make it look like they had stockings on. And they didn't, so it was just kind of weird that they drew on themselves. And then in 1970, it was like the age of the disco. There was hot pants, mini skirts, glitter, fringe, tie-dye, just weird things. And there's flared pants. And then there was a lot of colors and just glitter. That's just how it went back then. So then in 2012, there are styles that we see now. The first one is bohemian, which is very like flowy and just laid back, and it's pretty common style. And there's like a lot of patterns that are really nice with it, and just sort of neutral colors. And then there's chic, which is very girly and clean, and then common. You see a lot of girls wearing it, and it just looks like very nice and polished and very girly again. And couture, you don't see like hardly ever. It's very runway and designer. It's like fancier clothes. It's not like t-shirts and stuff. It's like dresses and weird sort of outfits. And then there's sporty, which I would be in if I wasn't giving my speech on fashion. It's like your t-shirt that you won at a tournament, your sweatpants you got from your team, and your favorite Nike tennis shoes that you got from the employee store. And then glam is very fancy and expensive. It's got a lot of parts to it that just, they all go together and they're just expensive and nice. And then it's very Hollywood. Hollywood, where's that? And then sophisticated is like just classy, it's polished, and it makes you look smart. It's got like a workplace look, people in like offices. And then vintage is when people wear styles that were in 20 years ago. It's just a lot different than what you see now because it was worn 20 years ago instead of now. And then urban is another very common style. It's what was born on the streets. It's the things that people like to see. They go in store and say, hey, I like that, I'd wear that. It's that sort of style. And the ridiculous style nowadays that nobody wears except for on runways is high fashion. So this person here, look at her hat. It doesn't even make sense. Who would wear that? And this one I found on poorlydressed.com. It's like a peacock sort of spider web thing. Why did they even make that? So anyways, fashion is a choice, but it can be a strange choice depending on your sense of style. And so now you know about the materials used, the ridiculous materials used, the ridiculous styles through the ages, and the ridiculous style now. But you also know about the common parts of those subjects. So next time you guys are in a store, just look around and see the things that you like and dislike and decide what you don't like and do like about them. And that is fashion and style. Thank you.